Hey guys, welcome back to Altcoin by Spotlight with me, Layah, the show where we speak to entrepreneurs, innovators, and thought leaders in the cryptocurrency and the blockchain space. Joining me today is Scott Trowbridge, the COO and commercial lead of Blockswap Network, the company looking to build fixed income products on decentralized finance. And guys, before we jump into the video, Blockswap Network are actually giving away free NFTs, which actually gives you access to the CommunityNet. So if you want more information on this, then just check the description below. Now guys, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed this segment, and also let us know in the comment section below who you want us to interview next and which topics you want us to cover. Scott, great to have you on Altcoin Buzz. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Great to hear another British accent. I think that's always a first. It seems like it's either very much American dominated, this space, don't you think?
Yeah, we definitely need more Brits on in crypto, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's just jump straight into this. Tell me about Blockswap Network.
Sure, yeah. So Blockswap Network, you can see us as building a immutable protocol that's bringing fixed income products to proof of stake blockchains. So really, how do you utilize proof of stake and staking as a mechanism to trustlessly redistribute wealth? So if you sort of take a look at what's happening in the proof of stake landscape, you've seen these chains continue to mature, continue to add more and more liquidity. Just look at Ethereum alone, that it's $200 billion worth of assets that are going to be transitioning over to proof of stake in the next 48 months. And there's over $7.5 billion in the ETH2 deposit contract that's already locked in the ETH2 staking. And then you look on the other side, what's happening in DeFi. There's been an explosion and a 40x growth in just the past 12 months, and seeing like a flux of these different protocol tokens that are offering these short-term, super high rate incentivized yields. But no one till now has really been able to offer something that's long-term, fixed rate, and sustainable. Look at the DeFi markets, total value locked in over the past 12 months. There's been a 40x growth rate. We'll be seeing a flux of these different protocol tokens offering super short-term, high-rate yields. But no one until now has really been able to offer something that's long-term, fixed rate, and sustainable as a decentralized savings product. And that's really where Blockswap is focused.
So with all of that in mind then, can you talk to me about how you're actually able to deal with the crypto volatility to actually become a stable yield source?
Yeah, sure. So one of the aspects of what we're building is OpenSaver. And this is a universal basic savings account that's backed by a proof of stake bond market. So essentially on one side, you have a user that's bringing their native currency. They're buying up Save a Dollar. And this is a digital stablecoin that's not dependent on an oracle. And then they're getting a 7% interest APY in USD on that. So essentially, one side you have the user that's bringing their currency. Every time they buy a Save a Dollar, it's minting a Saver bond. These Saver bonds are made up of packaged stake assets. And then essentially, if the price of Ethereum or the other base assets of these proof of stake chains drop, then there's an arbitrage opportunity where the Saver bonds are purchased by other liquidity providers.
And you also have something called StakeHouse. So explain to me what this is and how it's actually different from other AMMs.
Yeah, sure. So I guess you can see OpenSaver as the first liquidity layer that we're building on Blockswap. This is the universal basic savings account. This is like on an automated market maker model. So essentially you have liquidity providers. They're providing liquidity for the Saver bond minting in staked ETH and other proof of stake assets. Now, StakeHouse is it's our automated asset market maker. So in itself, it's a simple shared registry that allows node operators to register their node and associated validators on chain in order to permit liquidity extraction. So you can I guess I'll try a narrative and see if this works. But think about what happened with the Wall Street Bets movement. So Wall Street Bets, you had a group of people that essentially coordinated themselves over Reddit which is a centralized platform, to essentially move the price of a certain stock. And what the part that where they were obviously successful, but the part that they were sort of restrained is where the Robinhood app essentially stopped them from buying the stock to further their progression. Now, what if they were able to coordinate themselves on a decentralized infrastructure? And this is kind of how our StakeHouse works, whereby you have individual validators in Ethereum. The requirements to become a validator in Ethereum ETH2 right now is you have to bring 32 ETH and then run the ETH2 client. So what we have built is we built a automated asset market maker, which enables you to bind your different validators together in a single node registry, and then actually share the resource power of those individual nodes. Now, what happens is every time a validator joins a specific stakehouse, they are minting two tokens. So one is D token, which is a liquid staked representation of your ETH and other proof of stake assets. And then the other token is slot. And this is, it's acting as a perpetual bond in our system, but it's also, it resembles the equity of that stakehouse. So for example, let's just say that you had the Wall Street Bet stakehouse, and they were able in the first week to bring in 10 other validators. And what would happen is the slot book value of that stakehouse would be 3,200 ETH, for example. As more and more people join that stakehouse, either by bringing 32 ETH or by purchasing a slot from the market, which is then sold, they can also join that stakehouse. Each of these stakehouses have their own community, have their own private Telegram channel, but they're also sharing in the, value appreciation of how that stakehouse is performing. So is that stakehouse being slashed? Is it bringing on more liquidity? Like all these variables that are common to sort of like the stock market and other aspects.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting comparison to Wall Street Bets, because I think everybody remembers that. Everybody saw how that went down. So absolutely, that was a pretty interesting one. But I want to focus a little bit on the CommunityNet, because because ahead of the BSN mainnet, 250 million BSN tokens will actually be distributed across the community mainnet. So talk to me about why you guys are doing this and what is really the goal behind it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're really excited about the CommunityNet. I guess like we really want to put out a product first and really like make sure that it's compelling for a user. So backstory is we initially did a proof of concept on Tezos where we were able to receive over $100 million in whitelisted AUM through bakers, which are essentially validators in the Tezos ecosystem. And we really learned a lot through that proof of concept experience. Like, I guess what we really learned as a core is that proof of stake holders and asset holders in proof of stake chains, they are very long on the asset. They really want to hold it and they don't want to let it go. But obviously, if there's a way that they can extract additional liquidity from it, then it's very appealing. So that's really something that we learned. You can see essentially what we're doing with the CommunityNet is we're refining. One, we're building a foundational user base. Like we really want to have a large user base that understands how to interact with the stakehouse, understands how that coordination aspect works. And then, of course, like when we go to mainnet, then we have a large amount of users that are ready to actually earn these stable yields from the OpenSaver. And then the other side of it is really stress testing the protocol. Like we want to do like 5 months of real stress testing. Where does it break? Like how can we like refine the user experience? All these different elements whilst incentivizing users. So yeah, we're distributing 250 million tokens, which is 5% of our fully diluted token supply through incentive rewards over those 5 months for user participation. And I think it's going to be a really exciting exercise. All of this is run over Telegram and Discord. It's like a gamified interactive experience. So in the first month, there'll be around 5 to 10 stakehouses. Each of these stakehouses will be competing for people to come and stake with them. And then the higher the staking balance of these stakehouses, the more rewards that these users will actually receive. So there's going to be a lot of exciting aspects to it and some great partners that are going to be running the stake houses.
So what exactly are the benefits of actually holding the BSN tokens?
Yeah, so for the CommunityNet tokens, essentially all of these CommunityNet tokens, they're redeemable one for one with the mainnet. So when we actually launch mainnet, they'll be incurring the network fees. So one of those is every time a saver is purchased, there's several basis points that essentially every single BSN token holder receives. And then there's other value network accrual fees within the system as well. As we add more and more fixed income products onto the onto BSN, then essentially BSN token holders will receive additional value. But yeah, right now the CommunityNet token is the main token. Basically, we'll be doing an LBP. We really want to do this through like a fair launch initiative. How do we distribute the tokens to as many hands as possible and enable everyone to have access to the CommunityNet, everyone have access to get access to those incentive rewards. And then, of course, later down the line, in around 6 months' time, they'll be able to convert those one for one with the mainnet token. And then that's when the network fees start kicking in.
And how many farming pools does Blockswap support?
Yeah, so for the CommunityNet, we have the LBP that will be starting in April, and then our first platform for liquidity will be Uniswap. Actually, one of the incentive reward structures for the first month and second is actually adding liquidity to Uniswap, so people can do that to earn additional incentive rewards. And then we'll actually be putting a vote within the CommunityNet for where for other platforms where users want to add additional liquidity provisions. So so far on our radar, we have like SushiSwap and PancakeSwap, but it's really down to the community of where they want to add liquidity provisions to really earn the incentive rewards.
And also, I wanted to ask you, can you tell us about being part of the Algorand Europe Accelerator 2021 cohort? What is that and what does that mean?
Yeah, that was a great opportunity that came across our path. So really great guys who are running it from Borders Capital, Turner Capital, and then the Algorand Foundation. So yeah, essentially there's 11 startups. Demo day is happening at the end of April, and we saw Algorand as a great opportunity. They have amazing ties with like institutional partners, hedge funds, more like on the, I guess, like traditional finance space. One of the components for OpenSaver is actually we have something called a mint base. And this enables you to pre-mint the savers, and then they can be distributed through different channels. So that might be like a centralized exchange that want to physically sell these pre-minted savers. And then we also have other distribution partners that we're looking to work with, where essentially these savers can be distributed just through like any even fintech application. And of course, like the normal dApps and wallets and things as well. So yeah, Algorand's accelerators has been really exciting so far. They put us in contact with like pretty amazing people in like the traditional finance space, but also like market makers and other partners like that. And yeah, demo day is coming up. We will be showcasing a proof of concept or like a beta product for our ALGO saver.
Okay, so this is really exciting. And just finally then, can we get a specific kind of date, time when we can actually expect mainnet?
Yeah, so mainnet is pretty much right after we complete the CommunityNet. As long as we don't find any like major bugs or anything that we need to sort of propagate. In our thesis, mainnet is on track for like 6 months time. So yeah, I think like CommunityNet is the focus right now. We really want to like stress test everything, users giving feedback, just have like a really stable product. And then of course we'll do like, we have 5 audits and formal verification planned before mainnet going live. Being an immutable protocol, it's highly important and a massive focus for us to make sure that everything is audited and there's no bugs and all of the different aspects behind that. Yeah, the development team is like working super hard on that side. So yeah, 6 month time, that is our goal for mainnet. That's on ETH2, and also integrating ALGO into the collateral source for the OpenSaver. And then our plans after that we have is DOT, so Polkadot chain, and then Cardano as well.
I think it's such a smart move. You can't rush this. You have to make sure that everything is, all the wrinkles are ironed out. Too often we see, projects just jumping ahead of the game, and I think it always turns out a little bit counterproductive. So I want to wish you guys the best of luck. I'm really excited to see what happens. Fantastic to hear about DOT and Cardano as well. So we'll have to catch up with you in a few months. Thanks so much for coming on, Scott.
Great. Thanks for your time. Really enjoyed it.